Welcome, everybody, to Old Head, Young Minds. This is episode 13. I'm Robert Penner. 14, fuck. We just talked about this.
Literally
this is episode
just
fucking 14. Okay, this is episode 14.
Still.
I'm still Robert Penner.
I'm Allison Fine.
And I'm Bree Real.
Hey, we got a guest, y'all. We got a guest today. I love having these guest episodes, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
It's more interesting than we are by ourselves.
Very much. Everybody, start to know too much about us.
Right. I don't know. After a while, we probably are boring. Yeah. So you've listened to the podcast a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
So you know that we open up with You Good, which is like a mental health check and just seeing where people are. So this episode will come out, I don't know, first week of October.
Sounds about right.
October.
Which is October 4th. It'll come out. So just for reference point. So you good?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I worked the last 2 days, so
and we'll get into what you do.
Yeah, but I'm kind of in that not funk, but like the haze of like work and then day, but pretty good.
Good.
Good 2 days.
Robert, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. Pretty good. You good?
Yeah, I'm mostly good. Yeah, I this week, so we're recording this like mid-September. Last week was a hard week for me. We're going to talk about it more actually on the next episode, I'm sure, but my back was out for the week, so I'm finally like feeling better from that. But well, I will say, I wasn't going to, okay, I am going to talk about it. I'm actually really good. I wasn't going to talk about it, but I'm super excited. So a few, maybe a month and a half ago over at Nate Jackson's, I was on a showcase. Have you done one of those Kenan Thompson showcases?
No.
So Kenan Thompson, who is, from Kenan and Kel or whatever, shout out to Good Burger. I'm a Kel fan first, but
sponsor of the podcast. No, wait.
Yeah, right.
They're real.
Good Burger could definitely sponsor our podcast. So Kenan partners with this 360 like productions group, and they do these showcases all over. I think it's really just to create a database of comics, honestly, because I don't really know where it's supposed to lead. But the last one, I got put on very late. Somebody messaged me like, "Hey, somebody else asked me to ask you to come do the showcase," and I was like, "Cool," and I went and did it. And there was a headliner who I didn't know at the time. You saw him as soon as you walked in, though, because he was a handsome black man in a very bright red suit with no shirt on. And I was just like, he's not from Tacoma. And it turns out his name is Sterling Scott. And he's actually one of the biggest comedians in Canada, probably the biggest black comedian in Canada for sure, all, 6 of them or whatever. And he was a headliner. Afterwards, we were talking, of course, I'm a networker. So I'm like, how long have you been doing comedy? 16 years. He asked me, I said, a little over a year and a half. And he was like, what? And he was so impressed with my stage presence. And we had a very long conversation that night where he made me feel very good about my comedy. Because a lot of times people will like hype me up about my hustle. But he only heard my comedy at that point, right? He didn't know about the My Collective. He didn't know about the shows I do. He didn't know about any of that. He just saw 5 minutes of comedy. Mm-hmm. And then, he goes back to Canada. He also knows our friend Juan Forno, because all Canadians know each other, I guess.
Because they're so nice.
And they are so nice. They do like a meet and greet once a year. Everybody in Canada just meets each other. And so Sterling was very nice. And so we've been talking on and off. And just yesterday, I actually booked an 8-day tour with him.
Girl.
So I'm going to Edmonton.
Yes.
I'm going to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada in November.
International comedian now. Okay.
Passport stamps, bitch. I don't know that that's like the sexiest passport stamp. The maple leaf. But I'm going there like the 11th or 12th of November all the way through the 20th. And he has me booked. We're basically doing shows every night. I'm featuring for him. We're doing some corporate gigs, some regular shows. He's paying me a good amount of money, but in reality, I'm paying for my flight. He's paying for everything else, my lodging, my food. He's like, I'll buy drinks, but only so much. I was like, I don't drink that much. It's okay. And he's mostly paying me out of his pocket because he just wants me to be exposed to Canada and have Canada exposed to me. And he's like, they're going to love you. And apparently he just did this a couple months ago too for another guy, and that guy's now coming back. And Sterling Scott himself, he came in third in the 2014 Seattle International Comedy Competition. And he won the San Francisco International Comedy Competition in 2019. Like, he's the real deal.
Yeah.
And it's been a long week, but I'm good.
That is a fantastic way to end your week for sure. That's amazing.
I'm really excited. We've been talking about it, but I wasn't sure if it was going to happen. And I mean, he's paid me a good amount of money just to be with him. But that's amazing. I hope everyone gets these types of opportunities, you know? So it's been a long week and there's been a lot of ups and downs, but I'm good because I'm realizing that, like, this is real, you know? Today's the 24th of September, and on Friday is my 2-year anniversary. And in fact, before this episode comes out, October 4th. So October 2nd is my birthday, right? So I have a lot of good things coming up for myself.
Should we sing you happy birthday now?
No, do not sing at all, please. Jesus.
I freaking worked that day.
Jesus Christ. But
everything.
Yeah, so.
Fuck work.
I'll say I'm not good, though, because my fantasy football team is 0-2 right now. But this is week 3, and hopefully I'll pull off a win this week because the Niners did great this week. So, but yeah, overall I'm good because of this opportunity, and I hope that this doesn't come across as a brag. Like, this is me.
Oh, girl.
I mean, you gotta celebrate yourself sometimes.
100%.
I'm super juiced.
Sometimes a lot of people don't celebrate you, so you might as well celebrate yourself.
Yeah, and
you know,
and the thing is, it's funny because we just had Melanie Hearn on the podcast, and she's from Detroit, and she's an experienced comic, right? She's a headliner. But I did the same thing for her. I brought her to this market. I booked, like, in 7 days, we did like 10 stages, you know what I'm saying? And she stayed at my house, you know, the whole time. And it was to bring her out here so this market could see her. So then she could start coming back and being, you know, booking headlining shows and weekends and stuff like that. And I think it's just one of those moments where I feel like karma, you know what I'm saying? Like,
most definitely.
That like karma's paying off. And I get really hard on myself and what people think of me, and 'cause people don't always like me or whatever. But I get stuck in the negative. But, you know, there's some really positive things going on. So, yeah, I'm really excited.
I mean, I really applaud just how you put yourself out there. It's fantastic. For somebody that you have said your self-esteem and stuff like that, and the way it's like just fantastic. I'm really impressed.
I appreciate that. So,
because you deserve it.
I know it was a long story for my "you're good," but I just realized, like, I'm really good.
That is fantastic.
I'm really good because it makes all the hard work and the stress and the drama, it makes it worth it. So, so our next section is called "What It Do." That's our interview section. So as you already met Bree, and do you want to tell us? Well, I'll tell you. I think why we brought you on.
Okay. Thanks.
So we met you about a year ago when you started comedy.
Yes.
And for those of you who are not watching our episode on YouTube, which you should, or at least just go on and like and subscribe.
Way hotter.
But Bree, when Bree first came into the scene, like she was very friendly right away. But she also, like, she wore jeans, she wore tennis shoes, she wore like a fucking lumberjack, fucking flannel every day. And I was like, oh, another lesbian on the scene, cool. And then I met her husband. And and I realized, oh, Bree has a lot going on. And so I'll let you tell your story, but you're a new comedian. You're also a parent of the masses, and you work in a hospital setting. And I'm sure you have lots of things that we're going to learn about today.
Yeah.
But we like people on this podcast that are not just, we're not here to be a comedy podcast, you know?
Right.
We want to introduce people to interesting people. and we thought you were very interesting. So when we were thinking about people, and we also like to have sort of gender parity. So we're like, what's another woman we can bring on?
Yeah, we did do like back-to-back dudes.
Yeah, and so we were like, what's a woman that we can bring on that we really like and respect? And we want to get to know more, but we also want the world to see you, So
Thank you.
You want to just tell us sort of about yourself overall?
Oh, yeah. I love talking about myself. So I grew up in this area, in good old Pacific Northwest. Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Wait, why'd you say it like that? Like you grew up in Shelton or something? In some embarrassing place you don't want to say.
I mean, no. It's the funny thing is when I was growing up, I was like, this place is the worst place in the world. I want to get the fuck out of here. I was an only child. Until I was 16.
Oh, interesting.
Right? I know.
Wait, your parents had a kid at 16?
Well, we adopted.
Oh.
Yeah, my mom tried a lot, and I think I broke her because shit wasn't coming out of her. And so my dad said we would only adopt if the baby showed up at our front porch. And my little sister showed up at the front porch, essentially, because a family member reached out and said, my niece is pregnant. Would you like to adopt?
Wow.
And
wait, so that baby is related to you, or was related to your niece?
It's related to my aunts. It's like one of those like second removed, third carry the one.
So not biologically related.
Not biologically related. She said she's putting up for an adoption. Would you guys be interested? And we were like, yes. And then come to find out they had a family lined up, and this is in Montana. And the day she was born, she came out and she was not her blood wasn't circulating and she wasn't looking good. They found multiple holes in her heart, and they
was she a drug baby or something?
No.
Interesting.
She genetic. She had DiGeorge is what she has, which is a deletion of chromosome 26. Yeah,
it's a syndrome.
Yeah. And so you well with your background. Yeah. So, you're fine. And so, so she was airlifted to Seattle Children's, and the family that was lined up to adopt her said they wanted a healthy baby. So they bailed, and they asked us if we would adopt her.
Yikes.
So she basically showed up on our front porch, and we fell in love with her, and she's now 24 years old.
Wait, so pause. So at 16, you were okay with this?
100%.
Really?
It was my biggest dream. Like, I would pray to have a sibling because my family, I had mentioned listening to your podcast, our life is very much kind of the same. Grew up Roman Catholic, Irish. So all of my aunts and uncles, there was 1 million of them, and they had 1 million children. I was the only child.
Got it.
I mean, I can understand being excited like 10, but by 16, you're usually kind of selfish.
Yeah,
so
no. I was
that's
very
kind of cool
much,
that you were like, no, let's do this as a family.
Let's do this. I will, whatever. We don't know what's going to happen, her long-term diagnosis.
Is she still alive?
She is still alive. She is 24, and we're really starting to kind of navigate being an adult, which you know so well, and being developmentally delayed with her. And it's definitely a struggle.
Where does she live?
With my parents in Sumner.
Will she live with you when your parents are gone?
Yes. Yeah. And that's why my husband's so amazing, because when he married me, he knew that I was a package deal.
Got it.
So, yeah. But she's a little homebody. She loves books.
Yeah.
So we adopted her, and then I graduated high school, and I was like, I'm going to go see the world. And I joined the Air Force, and I got Mountain Home fucking Idaho. Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, right?
So international.
Yeah. I was like, woo! And I deployed a couple times, and that's where I met Tim. We actually met...
he was in the Air Force too?
He was in the Air Force too.
I didn't know that.
We met through my stalker and midget porn.
Shout out to midget porn.
Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, more than happy to. Yeah, that. So I had this stalker that showed up because the greatest
thing. While you were in the military?
While I was in the military. I literally showed up to my duty station, and this guy just like magically shows up at my door, because the ratio of men to women, if you weren't aware of this in the military, is definitely in the women's favor. Oh. So I was like...
I mean, as long as you're a straight woman.
Yes, most definitely. And so he showed up at my door and was like super stocky.
This is
was
in Idaho? Or
in
you were
Idaho, in
deployed?
Mountain Home,
Okay.
Idaho. Yeah. And one day he told me that he wanted to take me and show me around Mountain Home. And he needed to stop at his friend's house to get a gun. Because where we were going, I was 19, just a side note.
Got it.
I was not exactly the brightest book on the shelf. And I was like, yeah, let's go. And we stopped at this guy's house that was having a party. And they were talking about midget porn at work, that there was such a thing. And so in walked my future husband from the porn store with midget porn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I saw him and I was like, oh my God, he's fucking gorgeous.
Like, I don't care about his kinks.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever. I'm small. I mean, not small enough, but that's fine.
I'm dead.
What, 3 inches?
Yeah, 3. I just missed it. I missed it. Yeah. Come to find out that my stalker threatened to kill him if he didn't stay away from me. And
Wow.
so
That's a lot.
Yeah, I know it's a lot. And we were also in the military, so we made more money if we got married. So we were like, hey, let's get married.
And how old are you?
We were 21.
You make more money if you're married in the military?
You do. You
It's like a
you
stipend?
get out of the dorms.
Yeah, I was going to say,
And
you
we
get
were living in
housing.
the dorm.
Fuck
You
that.
get housing.
Fuck the
and
money. You get a
extra
fucking
food.
house.
Yeah. So we went from like making a whole whopping $800 a paycheck to making like $1,000 a paycheck. I mean, it's not a huge amount, but it's
But
definitely
the benefits go up,
The
too.
benefits go up. Yeah. So we got married. We were gonna originally not tell our family that we were getting married because my in-laws hate me.
Do they still?
Oh yeah.
Oh. Okay.
And well, not both my in-laws, just my mother-in-law. And
Is it because they know you're a lesbian?
probably
Is that why?
No. It's
Why
more
do they? Who hates you? I don't get that.
Yeah, right? I'm like perfect. So no, he's from the East Coast. He's from New Jersey.
Okay.
And so she thought he was going to come home. And then he started
Oh,
dating.
you stole her son.
I stole her son.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So,
Shout out to Tim. Like he's
he's really like the amazing
he
part
seems
of the
yeah.
whole-
I mean, you're
like,
gonna
he's-
understand a little bit why he's so amazing.
Yeah.
But,
No.
like-
So we got married. We're planning to get married on our 1-year anniversary of dating. And I found out I was pregnant. And so we told our family, and his family said, you're going to marry her because we're not going to have a bastard for a grandchild. And we're like, plot twist, we were already getting married.
Right.
So we got married. And then, again, we're in Mountain Home, Idaho. There's 2 things to do in Mountain Home, Idaho. Meth and procreate.
Yeah.
So we fucked a lot and had a shit ton of kids.
I'm glad you didn't do meth.
I
Proud of
really
you.
love my teeth. I
Proud
have
of
good
you.
teeth.
Proud of
Okay.
you.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So you guys have married like 18,
20
years.
years.
Okay.
We just celebrated
Oh
our
yeah,
20
you
years.
did. I just saw that. So 20 years. That's
20
a long
years.
time.
It's a really long time. And my in-laws said they'd be there for us long after we're divorced.
Cool.
So jokes on them.
They'll never hear this episode, but
Oh no, I'm putting that shit on blast. I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna unblock you right now.
I'm just saying, like, you guys should get over it already.
Right?
What the fuck?
Right.
It's so weird. I don't get that. The only time I ever hear that is honestly like with interracial couples, or if the person's queer, or
Yeah. No.
like different religions. Like
Well, I
that's
think,
weird.
honestly, I think there's like a little bit of a mental health component too
okay.
that's going on.
Was
that's
Tim
just
an
my
only
personal-
kid?
No, he's the oldest of 4.
All right, do you have a relationship with his
His-
siblings?
His siblings, it's kind of a divide, like, because I had to like cut off, like, I was like,
Wow.
you're causing too much ruckus into our life,
Wow.
so I'm cutting you out.
And Tim was okay with that, obviously.
And I left it up to Tim. I was like, you are
Okay.
more than welcome to have the relationship
Right.
with your mom, but it's not healthy for me, so
Smart.
it's basically a deciding factor. So he decided to love me.
Okay.
So, and the great thing about us is Tim is definitely, he loves cooking. He loves, he stays home with the kids, and I'm the masculine one. Like, I love working on the cars. I love mowing the lawn.
Right.
I love fixing things. I'm a fixer. That's my thing, and that's kind of the path that I went on. Is I am very passionate about things, and he supports me, and I support him.
Did you guys get out of the military at the same time?
Yeah, well, I ended up getting pregnant, like, for the second time. Was about to get shipped off to Saudi Arabia, and
shit.
I didn't want to leave my kids. I kind of liked them a little bit.
So you got out?
So I got out. And while I was in the military, fun fact, I was in the Air Force. I was a vehicle operator. I drove tractor trailers.
Oh, wow.
Forklifts. You name, if it has wheels, besides the train, I drove it.
Oh, is that why you're into the car, like fixing cars and
Yeah,
stuff?
I love
Is that where
fixing
that
cars.
started?
That's where that all started.
Okay.
Detailing cars. Oh, I fucking love detailing cars. That's like orgasmic for me. It's whatever. Yeah, so we got out at the same time. He actually was a state trooper in Idaho.
Oh, he was?
He was, yeah. For a very short time. And then his FTO was shot above the vest and was a paraplegic.
Oh, wow.
And so he was like, I want to come home.
Do you want to explain what FTO means?
Oh, field training officer.
Okay. So his friend...
he was in training. He was like, he just got out, just joined the police academy, and it didn't work out. And he decided that was not really the type of...
So he saw someone else do that, and he was like, I don't want to risk that.
Yeah. He was on his way to pick up my husband that day.
Oh, wow.
And so it really messed with him.
Yeah.
And so we applied for a job in Boeing, at Boeing, because he's a super nerd. He does all really nerdy things, and which I love because he does things that are way above my pay grade. And so he started working for Boeing, making like $13 an hour, supporting our family. We moved back out here, and he was working like 60 hours a week, and magically got this job that he does something really good there. I don't even know what it is. Like, I joke and say he's like CIA, because all I know is we get a paycheck from Boeing, and when he talks to people on the phone, he talks big words.
So at this point, you have two sons, right?
At this point we have two sons.
You have your older son, who actually is now in the military himself.
No, he's a firefighter. He's
firefighter.
volunteer firefighter.
I knew he had just gone
19.
to do something. Yes, okay, firefighter.
Now,
and then you have another son
that's 18,
and now
just turned 18.
School, right?
He's in high school. He's a
football
senior.
Star.
Yep.
He's
my little. Yep.
Okay, and then at what point did you have the twins?
When we were broke, we.
Smart.
Yeah, we're...
Let's just have one more baby.
Exactly.
One more baby.
We have enough room in our car for 3 car seats, so let's do it. And we went to and it doesn't run in our family. We go to to do our ultrasound when we found out we're pregnant, and I was convinced I was having a miscarriage. And the ultrasound tech is like sitting there looking, and she's like, well, the baby's heartbeats look good. And I'm like, babies? Plural? And she's like, oh, you didn't know you're having twins? And I was like, I'm sorry, what? So the entire time, my husband and I we laughed. Like, we just laughed uncontrollably because we're like, what the fuck are we going to do?
Right.
But it all worked out beautifully. I had started working into getting my EMT and working on an ambulance.
Right.
And I was loving that. And I was a volunteer firefighter. That's kind of where my oldest son kind of...
Oh, that's where that came from?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I started working in the ER as an ER tech. And that's where I've been for the last 8 years. And that is my happy place.
So you have 4 kids?
So I have 4 kids.
So you have 4 kids.
And then working in the ER, one night we had a meth-addicted 4-week-old that came in. And it was a foster baby. And I'm obsessed with babies. And
not in like a psycho way.
No, not in a creepy, weird, yeah. God, no. No, maybe because I was an only child, but...
For sure.
The foster mom, they were already placed, was telling me about it, and I was like, wait a second. My perception of foster care was originally like older kids, like Little Orphan Annie, that kind of thing, And I was like, wait a second. They give you babies? Like, you can take a baby home and you can love it and, whatever? And she was like, oh, yeah. And so I messaged my husband 3 o'clock in the morning and was like, can I bring home a 3-week-old meth-addicted baby? And he was like, 7 o'clock in the morning when I'm sleeping next to him, says, yes. And then we started talking about it, and we have this great life. We have 4 amazing kids.
How old are your kids at that point?
At that point, they were 10. My girls, I think, were in 6th grade. And then my one boy was in high school, was a freshman in high school, and the other one was in middle school. And
so your kids were older.
They were older.
Okay.
Yeah. And I knew that I didn't want to break up. Like they say that when you do foster care, you don't want to break up the age group, so you don't want to do older.
Right.
And we have this great life. I mean, we've had those bumps in the road, but we've really been blessed. And I wanted my kids to see the other side of life, and what life had its potential and how we can make an impact. And so we made the rule. We made the rule of 1, we would only take 1 foster child at a time. And 2, we would never adopt. They would always have a place in our heart.
Right.
But we would never adopt.
I want to take a second, because I'm a social worker. I used to do, when I first moved here, I did CPS type stuff, right?
Right.
I've been here 10 years yesterday, right? Was my 10-year anniversary in Seattle. So my first 2 years I did CPS. You said something about you didn't realize that they could bring babies home.
Right.
And I just want to speak to that. A lot of times when a baby gets put in a foster care, immediately it's because the family, the mother typically, has usually a drug addiction or a mental health issue, and they've already removed kids from that mother.
Yes.
Or they know, that mother's not capable of taking care of that baby. So it's usually something that happens in the hospital.
Exactly.
Like, this mom is too methed out. What are we going to do? There's no grandma in the picture or whatever. We need to figure out placement for that baby. And a lot of times, and it's very sad, but a lot of times it's, there are multiple kids that end up in that situation from one set of parents or one mother. I had a mother, I had a kid on my caseload who I had like 1 kid, and then the mom got pregnant again. This was like her 9th kid.
Yeah.
And they were all taken. And I ended up placing this brand new baby who first went to like the PIC, and then went to the place in Kent where like drug babies come down.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of that place.
You can't think, but I know exactly where you're talking about.
But this particular family that took this boy already had 2 of his biological brothers, were in contact with other families who had other biological siblings or whatever. So that's sort of how that happened. Like, some people don't understand the system and the way it works. We don't just take babies for no reason.
Yeah,
this tends to be,
it's not like,
this tends to be, unfortunately, just mothers that get pregnant repeatedly and cannot take care of their kids. That's how babies end up in the system. And so that's pretty brave of you guys to take a baby, but also to take a drug addicted baby, because you never know what the outcome of that's going to be.
Exactly. Well, and the other thing is because of my medical background, we decided we wanted to take medically fragile babies.
Kids.
So that was and the other piece to that too is some bio parents, they just need that support because they have been in the system, and it's like that constant follow through, right? Yeah. And they also just need the support. So,
but you guys weren't even foster parents, right? At that time? So you were like, I want to take this baby. How does this happen?
Exactly.
That's a lot.
And so we got licensed within 90 days because I was like, this is what we're going to do. Like, we are meant for this. This is our thing.
Shout out to you guys, because that's unheard of in the state of Washington.
I was insane on it, like making sure everything was done. Like,
usually just the state is not that fast. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and we went through an agency too.
Okay.
So that helped.
Yes.
But and I mean, before the ink was dry, we had our first placement.
Wow.
The funny thing too is that people might not know is the ICWA. We were told in training we would never.
Do you want to explain ICWA?
ICWA is. You probably could explain it better.
It's the Indian Child Welfare Act.
Yes, thank you. But basically, it's a great reason that it's there in place. But people, I'm just Irish. That's my background. So I'm not Native American, and it's to ensure that they're still within their culture and they're raised within their culture. They told us we would never get a Native American baby because we were not Native American. We got 3. Our first one was Native American. She was fantastic. We had a pretty bumpy road with her. She was pretty sick. She ended up developing meningitis. And
Wait, so that baby that you originally started that
journey, 4-week day, that was a joke with my husband. Like, we weren't gonna take that one. Was already placed.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah. That was it. Was more like it's just.
So that was more the inspiring.
That's inspired that moment. We the first baby we got, we're still in contact with the bio parents.
That's cool.
It's she's thriving. She's doing amazing.
So did she go back to the bio parents?
She did within like a month. She's 5. She's just started kindergarten. Okay. But I believe that she was placed with us because she was diagnosed with meningitis while she was in my care. And because of my medical background, she survived. If she wasn't, I would not have known how to advocate appropriately for her.
So a couple things just for the people who don't necessarily live in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
The Native American population here is deep, right? So not every state has Indian child welfare, but that's the reason is that because Native Americans have a history of being torn from their families and sent to
Thank you. I knew
Indian
you were going to
schools.
explain it so much better than I.
We know. I mean, we just recently, both in the U.S. and Canada, they are discovering graves of Native kids that were killed basically or died at Native American schools, and it's a terrible
really
history of what
terrible.
we've done to Native people, right? So that's why those like ICWA exists. The intent is to keep Native kids with Native families if possible, but they're also first right of refusals, and it's interesting because there's different rules with different tribes. There's some tribes that are really hands off about kids. There's some tribes that are like, no, you're only putting it in Native homes. I mean, there's a lot. Like I have friends that work at the main office, which is in Delridge in West Seattle, and there's a lot of rules that go along with a Native kid. Things like you can't cut their hair without, permission. I mean, you really can't cut a foster kid's hair, period.
Say, you cannot.
But especially a Native kid.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of rules in terms of how foster kids are treated, where they're placed, who they're placed with, whether they're adopted. Because sometimes they'll let you foster a kid forever, but they will not let you adopt a Native kid. They will find a place, a Native family. But that is the state of Washington, at least. That's our way of saying, like, we understand the importance of your culture and the values and the partnership between the whole foster care system and the tribes.
Yeah.
So I can appreciate that. And just to give history on that. The other thing is the fact that you took that girl and then she went home. That's how foster care is supposed to work. So,
and that was the mindset that we had in the beginning. And the other thing was we said we would never adopt because it was a way for us to protect our hearts.
So how'd that work out for you, Bree?
Well, you see, then what happened was we had another one that came in. They called us on Thanksgiving, or like the week before Thanksgiving. We had already had another foster care or foster child with us. And they said, hey, Bree, we got this baby. He's medically fragile, extensive medical history. He's 4 months old. We just need to find placement through the holidays. And I was like, okay, let me present it to my family. Because anytime we would take a foster child, we would sit down as a family and we would all agree. My kids are like, in our defense, we were 10 when we made this decision, so you can't. But we sat down and my husband.
Wait, so you already had a foster kid?
You were only
going to have one.
We were only going to have one at a time.
Now we're
That's
talking about two, so we're breaking rules.
Yeah, we're breaking rules.
Okay.
We're breaking rules up in the McCarty
And you're also
household.
like, no shade, but like you are the sucker of foster care. Like anybody who's willing to take medically fragile
100%.
kids, willing to deal with the Office of Indian Child Welfare, like anybody who's going to do that, you are the first call.
Amazingly, my phone would blow up all the time.
These dumb bitches. Give them McCartys a call. They'll take anybody and they'll deal with all the bullshit. Because there's not a lot of people that will. You know what I'm saying? It's your big heart. I'm just playing when I call you guys the suckers, but your big hearts plus your experience with medically fragile, like, yeah. Your name is really big and bold on a lot of lists, probably across the state.
On good lists. I just want to make sure that's what
they are good lists. They are good lists. But you are. Everyone probably knows who you are.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So sucker, definitely written over. And even my husband was like, yes. Like there was no wavering. All of them were yes. So he shows up, and it's this beautiful little black baby with curls and big brown eyes. And he has a diaper bag, and in his diaper bag, he's got a G-tube, so he's fed through his stomach. In his diaper bag was a bottle, medications that are important for the heart, dumped in the bottom of the bag, and a jacket. That was it. And I had
welcome to foster care.
Yeah, no idea anything of what was the deal with him. Like on the bottle of seizure medication that said if he has seizures that you had to increase the medications, every
time.
Carlos? Yes, that's
okay.
Carlos.
All right.
So Carlos is he shows up, and I was fed him his bottle because that's what came with it, because they claimed that even though he had a G-tube, he ate a bottle.
Yeah.
It took him 20 minutes of sucking on a bottle, what it appeared to be, and he didn't drink anything. And I was like, this is not okay. And so we took him straight to the Mary Bridge. Yeah. And I was like, I need to know about this baby.
Speaking of knowing you firsthand, those people probably know you.
Oh, yeah. I'm super active in the foundation and stuff like that now. Okay. But it took, so throughout the holidays, we sat there and tried to figure out, because also, fun fact, with foster parents, you don't get access to the medical records. We don't get my chart.
Or anything.
So we have to basically ask the doctors to print everything out.
I mean, my daughter's 28, and when we go to the doctor now, they'll be like, does she have a history? Is there a family history? I'm like,
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Yeah.
She got taken at 1, and she didn't come to me until she was 16.
Yeah.
I can tell you what happens from 16 and, almost 17 to now. But, everything else, I just guess.
Yeah. I have no idea.
Well, she hasn't had an allergic reaction yet. I don't know anything about her family history. And I don't even know. They would never... I don't know that even going back to California, they'd even give me those records, even though she's an adult. They might give her some of those records, but who would even have them? She was guardians, right? So, and that lady's dead.
20 years to now, the difference is, at least now we have an electronic.
For sure.
The paper is gone. It's gone.
And that's just the way it is. I mean, when my daughter, I don't know if I talked about this on the pod, but when my daughter came to me, we were with an agency, and we got a call. We have this really sweet 16-year-old. She seems very sweet, and we think she has a reading disorder. And within 5 minutes of me seeing her, I'm like, this is not a fucking reading disorder. This girl's special needs. You know what I'm saying? And then I found out she's an IQ of 56. My daughter's severely developmentally delayed. You know, she's very adaptive, and that's why and that's in part of me pushing her to be that way. But when a kid comes in, especially through being PC'd, which is when the police take them or whatever, you don't know shit about that kid, you know, and
nothing.
And they don't give you access to what they do know.
Exactly. And so it took the entire holiday to just get an idea. Found out that he had a missing portion of his brain. He has a missing portion of his brain, basically the right and left hemisphere, the corpus callosum in the middle, the membrane that separates it is missing completely. So his neurons, they just kind of do their own thing. So, sorry, I get all with my hands. I should be from the East Coast. But your mother-in-law would like you more. That's 100%. They do their own thing. So he has epilepsy. He has seizures, a seizure disorder. He had 2 holes patched in his heart. He's G-tube fed. He has hydrocephalus, so he has a tube that goes from his brain into his abdomen.
Wow.
And So really long story short, we adopted him. We're coming up on 2 years.
We're never going to adopt.
Yep.
Broken all the
We're going to
rules.
have one kid. We're never going to adopt.
Yeah. So the kid that was only supposed to be with us through the holidays is with us through all our holidays.
Did I talk about that in the pod? Did you? That was the same thing for me. She came to me in August, and I was like, she's sweet, but I'm too busy.
Yeah.
Like, we're too busy. I don't have the time. And like 5 months later, we had just gotten through the holidays, and they were like, we're going to start looking for permanent placement. And I was like, nah.
I'm your permanent placement.
Right.
Yeah.
So very similar.
Yeah.
My kid was just
So do you
an
just
adult.
have just Carlos right now, or you have others?
No.
Oh,
So
okay.
sadly,
Okay, first of all, if you're only listening to this, Bree just looked down in like the saddest look of shame.
Like, she just realized that she set up rules.
So
and
let's
all
just get to
rules.
the point. How many kids do you have?
well, I count every kid that steps foot in my house. We are part of our family. So we say we have 10 kids, but we have 6 permanently in our house.
So you have 4 of your own.
4 of our own.
2 that you've
2 we
adopted.
adopted, and 4 that we fostered. We did close our foster license at this time because we want to deal with
Carlos is alive.
Carlos, yeah. Now,
What's your other kid's
Kai.
name?
Fun fact on Kai. I feel like this is like one of those Grey's Anatomy. Like this actually happened in the ER. He was born in the toilet in our emergency department
At your job.
at my job.
At some
And-
point, Tim's going to be like, you just have to, you need to find another
know,
job.
right?
You cannot bring all these kids home.
And mom said that she couldn't take care of him and walked out. And so
I mean, thanks for being self-aware, Mom.
you know what? I
You know
give
what kids
her
like that end up dead.
the most props. She said she didn't know she was pregnant. She checked in for abdominal pain. It kind of
Jesus.
technically she safe havened him.
Yeah.
But
She was at a hospital.
yeah, but they
like,
messed up
"It's in the
and
women's
linked
restroom."
her to it. So I know who she is. She doesn't know who I am.
Oh, interesting.
And because she does live local, I see her.
So, like, did she go to the bathroom and then just came out with the baby?
She had her daughter with her, and
they
her
went
daughter
and called
started
somebody?
screaming for help.
Oh.
She never touched him. He was in the toilet. My
It's
coworker
like an
pulled him
episode of
out
ER.
I
for
told you it was
real.
like Grey's Anatomy, man.
Oh, I don't watch Grey's Anatomy, but yes, I'm
okay,
older. So, yeah, ER for me. But
Yeah, ER is
that's
also my jam.
wild as fuck.
Yeah, so they went back to mother baby, and she had her 12-year-old daughter hand him over and said, wow, we don't want him, and walked out. So unfortunately, even though she technically safe havened him, she didn't. So he was put into the foster care system instead of, or had to go through the foster care process essentially.
Right.
And what I really feel terrible for her is in foster care, when a child comes in, they notify the next of kin.
Right.
To find a placement. And so for her, they notified her next of kin. So she didn't want anybody to know. And so now all of her family knew.
That sucks.
And Kai,
When she had other kids, at least.
when she had other kids,
Oh,
she had 2 other
wow.
kids. Kai, because of that, he's extremely attached to us because he was so she never touched him. Like I said. Then he was put in the NICU for 8 days. I was actually at work that day, but I got the call. Hey, we have a baby that was
Of course you
born
did.
in the toilet at Good Samaritan. Oh shoot, I don't know if I should say where I work, but she is born in the toilet in Good Samaritan in the emergency department. And I was like, he's mine. I don't need to know anymore. He's
Is
mine.
he drug affected or anything?
He did test positive for amphetamines.
Yeah.
They thought he had necrotizing enterocolitis. So basically his colon was dying because of his no prenatal care and how he was born. But he actually didn't have any
Nice.
issues. He's
Now, Kai is how old?
Kai is 4.
And then Carlos is what, 6 or
5.
7? 5? Okay.
And
This is a stupid question, but
there's no such thing as
Kai,
stupid questions. Only stupid answers.
So Kai, toilet baby, went to foster care right away.
Yes.
And how long to you got?
Well, she was already a foster parent.
I was already a foster parent. So he was 8 days in the NICU. And then, so we brought him home at day 8.
So.
And then he was with us.
Sorry,
for
this
So he
is-
just went into the system.
Yeah. So these are my thoughts.
Yeah.
Did you name Kai?
We did.
I was like, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like,
So his name
you know what I'm saying?
was Baby Boy for 2 years. Because, of course, it can't be an easy, quick process of adopting him. But we automatically called him Malachi.
Okay.
And he goes by Kai.
Okay. I'm sorry. This is my thoughts. I was like,
people don't know like how the foster system there's a lot of
details that are like, I'm wondering.
You can also change the kid's name.
Right.
When you adopt.
Right.
Yeah, when you adopt.
Because the family that I was talking about where I placed that baby with his two of his siblings, he had a different name. And it became a little bit of an issue. And I'm still friends with that family today. In fact, that's the family that the son plays for the Padres.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you were talking about that.
That's his oldest brother.
Okay.
Well, older brother in that family.
Gotcha.
There's 9 siblings at least. But but the foster family wanted to change his name. And they were calling him by the new name, not his birth name. Which they're not supposed to do. So it became an issue when I'm like, when I'm here, you have to call him by his birth name. Because those are the rules, you know? Yeah. But once you adopt, the adoption process.
It's just a name change, right?
No, once you adopt, she has a birth certificate that says she gave birth to Kai.
Yep.
Which does not make sense in the world of bureaucracy and paper pushing. Why we do that? Because I think that's weird. Like,
I also feel like it's not fair to the kids.
To the bio parent, to the kid, to a lot of people.
To be able to like track if they want to have some kind of relationship.
So her kids, if she never wanted to tell the boys that they were adopted, they would never know. You know what I'm saying? Because when you adopt a kid, the birth certificate says you were the bio parents, which I think is just weird. It doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't.
But that's when you can change the name. But if a baby is born without a name, that's when you end up with, there's probably more leniency of what you call him because he didn't have a name before that. We couldn't be like,
baby boy, he, and the nice thing was, the hospital said he was Asian.
I was going to say, what race? You said Carlos was black?
Yeah, he's black.
I thought he was Hispanic.
He's Hispanic and black.
Okay.
Dad was black, mom's Hispanic.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I've seen pictures of him.
And then what is Kai? I love him. Because he's a little light-skinned kid.
Kai, we went and got the 23andMe on him. Well, not 23andMe, but after we adopted him, the one that we could swab because he couldn't collect the spit. He was too little. Native American.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
So then he was already adopted?
He was already adopted.
Oh.
Yeah, he's very, very...
And
he's
it didn't apply because he was adopted at that point, right?
Eskimo, and Native American.
That's wild.
Yeah. So
can it tell you what tribe?
No, you can't. No. It's like north. I'm pretty sure he's a local tribe.
Yeah, like Muckleshoot or something like that.
But
wow, that's wild.
Yeah. So,
but that would have. I mean, honestly, if they would have done that before, which brings up an interesting point, which I don't think we should get into right now because it could be a long conversation. But that's interesting. If you don't know what race a kid is, and then like, what if that kiddo really did belong to a tribe that's very possessive over their kids,
right?
But that kid's already adopted out. That's interesting.
I know.
I never thought about DNA.
So I waited until
kids.
after, and I couldn't even do it, even if I wanted, because there's a little legal caveat in it. Right. But yeah, it was because we were like, well, is he Korean? Is he,
Yeah.
And we also learned in it that he will never be able to smell his asparagus pee.
Oh yeah. I used to do a joke about that. Is
that a thing?
On 23andMe?
No, on 23andMe.
On 23andMe, they give you the weirdest fucking reports. And one of them is like, how likely is your pee to smell like asparagus? It's fucking weird.
It's the thing.
Did not know that.
Yeah, 23andMe is a very interesting. I did Ancestry and 23andMe. And 23andMe has the weirdest reports. I don't understand
crazy.
it.
But yeah, so Kai, another little extra added thing that I really like to share about the foster care system is the next of kin. We had one baby that we were just absolutely in love with, wanted to adopt. Next of kin stepped in. They said, we have the third cousin that wants to adopt this baby or be a permanent placement. And I was devastated. I was like, there's nobody that's going to ever be able to be a good mom to this baby. Come to find out, most magical human that ever walked the planet.
Yeah.
Single mom or single lady that just got a letter in the mail. And she's like one of my best friends.
Yeah, happens all the time.
More like a sister than anything.
That family search through like when I was a foster parent, I was a foster parent. It was before I was a social worker. So I didn't understand a lot of this until I became a social worker too. And I understood the backside of that. When Sam came to me, her biological parents who were living in Montana at the time were calling her all the time. You know, she's 16 and I'm just like, how are they even involved? And it's because she was guardian for so long, but when her guardian ended up hospitalized because she had strokes, she ended up passing away, and Sam got kicked back into foster care, that started a new family search. Family search reached out to dad's mom, grandma, who then told mom and dad, who are now, in theory, like sober, you know what I'm saying? And that's how they got back in touch with Sam. And so when Sam came to me, the dad used to call and like be pissed and call a social worker and be like, Allison's not having Sam call. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not having this 17-year-old special needs kid who doesn't fucking know you.
And
I'm not forcing her to call you.
That is,
but
my gosh.
the problem is that when she did talk to her dad and mom, she'd be like, yeah, I love you because she's special needs and she's going to respond the way she, the way she thinks she's expected to respond. But that family search like threw a really big monkey wrench in our life because I'm like, I did facilitate video calls and I would absolutely be like, hey, do you want to call your parents? Most of the time she said no. But then the dad would be pissed. You know what I'm saying? That became a lot. The other thing, and you might not know this, is that let's say that Kai's mom had another baby, right?
Okay.
And didn't want that baby. They would track, if she mentioned, there's paperwork, obviously, that would have to be tracked. But if they found out that the McCartys had adopted the other baby, they would come first to the McCartys because now the McCartys are considered family. So since they adopted they adopted Malachi, and that's a sibling, they would come to them first and be like, hey, we have a sibling. Do you want that sibling? And then they would have basically first right of refusal to take that sibling.
Well, yeah, because it's all the encouragement to keep kids together, right?
And we have sucker on our forehead. So.
That part too.
and with that, we did end up at 3, just so you know, at a total of foster care at the same time.
Yeah. So right now you're 4.
So we're no longer doing foster care, but at one point for the moment. Yeah, for the moment, we had.
Wait till those twins move out and see what happens.
Right. I know my 18 and 19-year-old will never move out, but my twins will. No.
So you have an adult.
Yeah, 2
adults. You have your oldest son. Your second son is also 18.
He just turned 18.
Oh, okay, but he's in high school still.
But he's still in high school.
Then you have the twins. Then you have the two little guys. You work.
I work, yeah.
So you work at a hospital still?
I work at
just waiting around to collect some
And I call that's my calm place. I love working in the emergency department.
I just want to point out that she just called the emergency room a calm place for her.
It is,
what does it say about the rest of your life?
It is legitimately my vacation.
I work in the hospital enough to know that. Like they'll say, hey, we got to go test something in the emergency room. I'm like, oh, God, I do not want to go there.
So you were in the military, you got married young, you have all of these kids. Your husband stays home now?
He works from home.
Oh, he does?
Unfortunately for him,
Okay,
yes.
So he works from home.
Yeah.
You have a very full life. Your kids are very active in all the things that they do. And then you were like, hey, I have 4 minutes of free time on Tuesday at 3 a.m. I'm going to start comedy.
Right, yeah.
So let's talk about that real quick.
So the one thing I have noticed while working in the emergency room is, I kill in comedy in the emergency room. Not the patients, but...
Don't kill them.
Yeah, in comedy, when they come and see me, it's like their darkest time. And if I can crack some laughs with them in the emergency department, I was like, I bet you I could do pretty good with healthy people. So I decided that I wanted. It's always been on my radar of wanting to go out there and do it. And so I had a really terrible night at work, and I was like, I got to find a new job. I'm going to be a comedian. And so I signed up for an open mic night.
So where'd you do your first?
TCC.
All right. I think I was there, actually. I think I might have been there the first night you went up.
Naren Van was the host.
Shout out to Naren.
And I had like a crap ton of people that came.
Yeah, I was there.
I have a pretty large support of people, and I remember him asking who lost a bet, whose first night is this of comedy because there's so many people here, and I yelled, "I hate my job," and he's like, "Well, you're looking in the wrong place because there's no money here," and I was like, "Valid." But
and also all these friends that come, they'll stop coming eventually.
Yeah.
I'm very selective about when I ask people to come see me. I'm like, most of my friends could do my routine at this point.
Right. I know it's now getting to that point, but I just, as soon as I went up there, I just felt so good, and it's like an amazing high for me. I just love it. So I wish I could do more. I'm trying to find that balance of how to do it and where it still feels good.
Yeah.
And so, that's where I'm rolling with it now.
So how long has it been?
I just hit my year August 10th.
Oh, okay.
So, yep.
Right about the same time.
Yeah. It's,
like 2 weeks before you. Yeah. I was definitely in the room that night.
I was there the night it was I think you closed TCC. And your son your 18-year-old was there.
Yes. I just turned 18.
Yeah, I think I did my set and bailed, but
yes.
like I know you were there. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so crazy. Like I'm trying to figure out how to do it. Right? You're like this whole comedy is like foreign to me. Like
I think the hardest thing is that there is no how to do it because it's what's your goal.
There's
right?
no
like is your goal? I want to quit my job and be a famous whatever, or is it I just want to do this as a hobby because it makes me feel good, or is it somewhere in between?
Yeah.
So it's hard to, in my opinion, it's hard to look at other people's journeys
100%.
There's nobody that's going to have your path.
No,
you know,
right.
And I often hear like, well, what is your goal in comedy? And I'm like, to do it until I don't like it anymore, I suppose.
Exactly.
But I also don't do anything. I don't do most things at 50%, right? I do most things at 100% if I'm gonna put in the effort.
Right.
So because of the effort I've put in, it's given me all these other opportunities, which has then allowed me to be better. And now it's just like, I'm just kind of letting it take me. Yeah. But it's hard. Comedy is hard because there is no blueprint for it.
I did WikiHow before I jumped in the pool. I was like, how do you become? And it's crap. It's lies. Don't go to WikiHow. It's lies. It's totally.
So no, go to WikiHow after.
Who's your favorite comedian?
Who's my favorite comedian? Right. Like famous?
Yeah, who's your favorite?
I love Melissa McCarthy. But not so much. Like I didn't really. And Gabriel Iglesias was my
Fluffy
stand up. I love Fluffy.
Yeah, I went and saw Fluffy when he was early.
I saw Fluffy and Russell Peters and it was like a summer jam for comedy in Southern California. So it was outside in an amphitheater. And Fluffy, Russell Peters, they were very young. They were very new. Yeah. And Ralphie May. All three of them were all the same. You know what I'm saying? And it was like a ton of comedians, but those were the three of the big ones. But they were still very, very, very new. Because I was in my early 20s. So this is 20 years ago. Fluffy. Well, his most recent special, it was really good.
That's exactly what I was.
It made me cry.
He made me that's where I was I was sitting there and I was like, where do I want to go with this? Do I want to go more? Do I want to just go to do a couple open mics here and there?
Yeah.
And when he stood up and he was crying and he was like, this, I have been through it all. This, it's worth it. I was like, oh shit, you're talking to me. I am. Yeah. That's what I want to do.
I think comedy is also one of the nice things about comedy is you can do it at any intensity level.
Right.
You can do it where you're hitting 7 mics a week, or you can do it where you hit 2 mics a month. Yeah. And it's not going to make you break you. The more you do, the better you get. Period. That's the way it works. But if you need to take a month off, you take a month off.
No, it's 100%. If it doesn't feel good, I don't do it. There's times where I've gone up there and it's weird. It doesn't feel right, And then there's days where I go up and I'm like, oh my God, that was the most amazing rush. And it depends on the audience. It's comedy's kind of like the emergency room of you don't know what you're going to get when you get up there and when you show up. Like, you could have a crowd full of people and not one person laugh. Or you can run have the same jokes.
I've triple mic'd where two of those mics, my shit was hitting, and one of those mics, it was dead silent, right? Like, and that's all in one night.
Yeah,
you know, the audience, the mood, where you're at that moment. You know what I'm saying? You went from one mic to another and had a shitty phone call, so you could do the same 5 jokes, and in one night. Get 3 different responses.
Right.
Like, it's wild.
And then the ones where it's a usually guarantee hit and it doesn't hit always throws me off. I'm like, what the fuck did you? Is this mic on? Like, what? This is so weird.
Yeah, I've done that. Like I've done a thing where like I have a show for 10 minutes at the end of the week, so I'm hitting like 3 mics and trying to track them together.
Right.
And then I'm like, and then I'm coming like, well, what am I going to do now? I don't know if none of these hit.
It is so crazy. Oh, and I also learned that for a while there, I was going like word for word for word for word. And then that didn't feel good. So then I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to outline that bitch.
So we're talking about writing style.
Writing style. Like trying to figure out what
I've done both. Sometimes I need to write the whole thing out and do it like it's rehearsed, and then until I get to a point where it's not rehearsed, I just know the whole premise of
I did that for like
go.
2 minutes. Yeah. And I'm like, I write too much. Like, I'm a writer, so I write too much. So I don't even do it that way. Usually I come up with a concept, and then I put some points down below. I figure out where my punchline is. I figure out where my tags are, and then I just work it from the stage. That works for me. Yeah. Everybody has a different style.
No, that's the style that I feel like I'm starting to be more apt to. Because then if I'm going word for word and I fuck up just a little word, like the Nate Jackson's, I did the funniest MF. Yeah, and I was nervous as hell. And I was trying to do put the word to word, and I stuttered on one word, and then it just like, damn it. And then I'm like, bitch, you stupid. And then I'm like trying to fit it in 3 minutes, and
it's tough.
It was tough.
Crazy. We all did it.
Did it.
Yeah.
But it was like amazing at the same time. Like,
it was like cool. Like I'm on a stage
And these people that I'm competing with are like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I personally, because I'm a Libra, I'm a triple Libra, I'm an overthinker. Like, I don't want to get too in my head about my comedy. So I think I have, for me, I think it's like the law of averages at this point.
Yeah.
If I know that a joke hits more often than it doesn't, I know that's a good joke. You know what I'm saying? I need to figure out how to make it better, or if it's not hitting consistently in the rooms where it's not, why isn't it, or whatever. But people get really in their own head. I mean, people will listen to their stuff and they'll count their laughs per minute over and over and over again. And I'm just I can't, that will make me neurotic or more neurotic. So I don't do any of that. Like, if my joke hits on a regular basis, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I also don't really blame the audience usually. No. There's some audiences that are tighter than others. Certain scenes, like you go to Seattle, I don't know if we were somewhere, or if it was just me, but we were talking about that. Like, you do, jokes about race or jokes about being queer in Seattle, and like they'll want to laugh, but they're like, I don't know, I'm supposed to laugh at that. And it's like, if it's a black comedian making black jokes, you can laugh, Seattle. It's okay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can do that. So different scenes and different audiences have different reactions to things. But for me, it's about a law of averages. And for me, that just keeps it light. Like, I'll throw out something if I'm not getting a good response anywhere. But I want to continue to enjoy this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if one day I can make my living off of it, cool.
Right.
And if not, that's okay too.
Yeah.
So.
And I base my comedy off my life. Like people are like, did that really happen?
I know.
No, that shit really happened.
Because you and I do have like different, but crazy lives.
Yeah,
just
like people, I have my son's friend that's blind. Like, that shit really happened. Like, he beat my ass playing Mortal Kombat. Like, he
I recently heard that joke.
And he's like really blind. He really climbed a tree and wanted to see how far he could see. Like those are all. He jumped off the roof of his house.
That's one of my favorite joke that you do. Yeah. She tells this old joke and she sets it up about her son's blind friend, and then and how he. When he first gets to the house, her son like leads him around and like
he has to like
shows him like the setup of the room, right? Yeah. So he can navigate the house. And then after he beats her in Mortal Kombat, she goes and rearranges the furniture like that. And that's one of those jokes. I'm not a huge external laugher sometimes, but that's one of those jokes that every single time I hear, I laugh because it's a truly funny joke.
Yeah, no, and also
you are a horrible person.
I know, I totally am.
You didn't actually do that, right?
No, I legitimately did.
Oh, shit.
No,
I'm not
kidding you. But this kid, he made fun of me. So this motherfucker's getting his. He just turned 18, and I saw his sister, and I was like, I really want her to come to the comedy show so I could be like that's that motherfucker right there, and I just roast the shit out of the blind kid because he would just make.
He's never heard you do that joke.
He's never seen her. Oh, yeah, he's never seen me.
These people are going to hell. I'm not partaking in any of that.
Like, see, he told me he's the one that tells me this stuff. Like
when you bring him, can you tell us so we can all be there?
I will.
I want to sit like next to that kid.
I know, and he's funny. Like there was one time we took him to he was playing basketball and rollerblading, and he shot the basketball and then ran into the pole on the roller skates, right? And like total lack on his head. So his sister brought him in and we're doing the triage and my friend's like, so did you lose consciousness? He's like, I don't know. It's always been black.
It's like technically a blackout is every day.
It's all the time. It's all the time.
No, that's hilarious. Yeah, I want to be there when you tell that joke in front of him.
Oh yeah, no.
Jokes in front of people are kind of funny. I did that for my 3 minutes at Nate Jackson. I just did 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
And I did 3 minutes of almost brand new material. I took some stuff that I had been working on and I put it all together because my stuff is storytelling like yours, so it's hard to get it into 3 minutes. And one of those sections was literally about a situation that happened. I was talking about my young friends and keeping up. My whole 3 minutes was about age and about trying to stay young or whatever. And I said, I just had an experience this weekend. I went out with some friends and they were my, early in the joke, I talk about, most of my friends are black. And so I went out with some friends this weekend and I became their mom. I was like, they were my Mexican friends. But they were more like Mexican hold their tequila, right? And those bitches were in the audience. And so I did that on a Tuesday and that situation had just happened on Saturday where I showed up at the bar at 1:00 and my best friend and her sister are pissy drunk. They both had cars there. Like it was chaos, but I was like, I am putting them in this joke, and they were sitting in the audience and they died. So sometimes like that payoff is really fun. So yeah, definitely I want to be there when you tell the kid.
100%.
He can't watch me, but I'll watch him.
And I make fun of my kids. I mean my son and he accepts it. Like I know my boundaries with my kids, we're definitely living the hormonal life right now. But yeah, no, and my favorite is my kids. When I told my daughters that I was doing comedy, they said, Mom, just so you know, I listened to a podcast of some comedians and they all said that when they first started, they never got laughs. So when people don't laugh at you, don't take it personal. Aww. And I was like, bitches, they're going to laugh at me. Why do you don't think I'm not funny?
That's sweet though.
It is sweet.
They're like, you're not a total loser, Mom.
And so when I came home, I was like, people laughed at me, okay? I'm a person.
Do you have any other questions before we move on?
Like, what's been, we always ask this question most of the time. Like, what's been your biggest influence? Like, life, comedy?
My dad and my grandfather. And that's that whole.
And obviously your mother-in-law.
And, oh, yes.
Sorry, Tim.
At least she created a cute butt. Yeah.
She created a cute butt. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, they're my grandfather. He was a pilot, and we had he provided a lot of opportunities in my life to experience. My dad, he's funny as shit. And so that's where I got my personality from. I wish that he was a little more relaxed. He's very like I'm dirty as fuck. And my dad is like, I've never heard him say a dirty word.
Wow.
Like he won't watch if there's a movie that's like inappropriate, like they kiss. He's like, nah, this is not my jam. But yeah, I know, which is weird. But when we get rolling, him and I together, it's pretty awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So next is turntables. So that's where you have an opportunity to ask us a question or two. Do you have anything?
Let's see. Yeah. I got to think back into my memos that I did in my head while I was laying awake last night. Oh, man. But I feel like you kind of answered them in some of the questions. Were you talking? Because I had a couple questions about Sam. But you answered them while we were talking. Maybe I don't have any questions. I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, it's okay.
Just fine.
It's just an opportunity.
Yeah,
Interviews are usually so one directional.
Yeah.
So we give people the opportunity to ask us questions. Sometimes we include like pictures and videos or whatever, depending on the guest. And I was thinking maybe you could like send us like a family picture.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So people could see your family if they're watching the YouTube.
Yeah.
Because
you got to see my magical.
Can slide that in there. Also, we haven't mentioned him yet, but like shout out to Stay Hydrated Studios. That's where we record here. And our producer, NuqNuk, he is under the weather because, kids went back to school. So everyone gets sick.
Kids are jerks.
So
everyone, everything.
Also, he has a brand new baby. He has two older kids and then a brand new baby.
I asked you didn't say you have a brand new baby.
And he doesn't sleep anymore.
Oh, man. Moment of silence for you. Should have brought you some more energy. Where's your energy drink or anything? You're not even like...
No.
Dang it.
No.
You're hardcore.
Let's see. What else? Do we want to just move into dope or trash?
Since I guess maybe I do kind of have a question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's because I listened to your guys' podcast, and this is kind of awesome because you know how many times I listen to things? I know, right?
Did you happen to be in Ireland recently?
Actually, Joey was.
We had
my oldest was.
Oh, really? No shit. We're like, because you can look on the dynamics of, and it's like, we have like a 1% Ireland. I'm like, what the fuck?
I'll ask him if he did. I mean, he was there a couple weeks ago. No, but first off, the Crocs thing, okay? Yeah, you said that you would allow nurses to wear Crocs.
Oh yeah, those are cool.
No. That's gross, man.
All right.
Because I always think I have coworkers, they're gonna be mad at me for this because they have their bedazzled little
annoying
things on their shoes, right? But I'm always like, when we get fecal matter on our shit all the time, that's going through your sock and that's touching your bare toes.
Oh yeah, that's not cute.
So
but you can get Crocs that are closed toe.
You can, but then you get the sweat game going on.
Oh, okay.
So that's my 2 cents on that. And then paper plates, I felt attacked because as a family of 5,472,000 kids, our plates disappear real quick, and so paper plates.
They're all under your son's bed.
100%.
I don't have to be at your house to know that.
Yeah, who the fuck wants to eat off those plates after they come out from underneath my son's bed?
Find them. If you want to reclaim the plates.
I never said I wanted to find them. Them things are crusty from multiple different things, okay? I don't need to fucking...
Speaking of dirty socks.
So anyways, those are just my two things.
If we could use plastic, I mean, if we could use paper
plates.
If we could use paper pots and pans, we would.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, I mean, I think that nurses. Well, my thing is, I know how hard it is to be on your feet all day, so that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
That's why I understand why people wear their Crocs for that purpose, right? But like, okay,
I just every time my coworkers, I just am like, come on, guys, like. I mean, they got peed on the other day. That pee went right through their Crocs.
That's gross.
And I was like, gross. Like, then you're dumping out the...
I wouldn't want to... I mean, I wouldn't work at a fucking ER, period.
I mean, I'll ask them.
Okay.
They do put their feet on feet finders, so maybe they just
gross.
I mean, feet's supposed to be good for your feet. That's what I heard.
Disgusting.
Like, good for athletes' feet.
I have heard that. So you've been peeing in the shower, haven't you?
Amongst other things in the shower.
I got you.
She got real personal real quick.
Sorry, I work in the hospital. Like I get people's business. There's no filter on this face.
Honestly, every time I go to the hospital, I'm like, why do people work at a hospital?
Oh my God, I love it.
I'm not going to get into the long version of the story because it holds secrets that I will never tell. But I switched insurances in August, and my new OBGYN is a man. Mm-hmm. And my uncle's an OBGYN in Spokane, right? Yeah. But I'm always just like, as a man, why do you want to look at vaginas all day? Like, I do not understand that. And it's always, I mean, the males that I've talked to, they're always like, oh, it's about the birthing process. Like, they just love helping people have birth. You know what I'm saying? Give birth or whatever, have babies, whatever. But I don't understand anybody that wants to work at a hospital. It's so fucking gross.
I will say one of my jobs in working in the ER is chaperoning, because the male doctors, when they are doing pelvic exams, I have to be in there.
Oh, as a woman?
Yeah,
okay,
as a woman.
for safety.
That's one of my favorite things to watch, is because some of them, as an ER doc, they don't exactly
Bree was
line
a
it
lesbian.
up.
If you just want to tell us.
I know, right?
Okay.
Tim doesn't have to listen.
No, I like watching the doctors get all like uncomfortable as they're like, okay, I'm just gonna, and then.
Well, an ER is different though, because an ER
they don't
doctor
sign up to be
not an
all up in people's labias, right?
But if somebody's like, my vagina's on fire, then you get to do that. You know what I'm saying?
They get to.
An ER doctor's the utility tool of doctors, right? Yeah. So, yeah, they didn't sign up for, all vaginas all day. But I think anyway, I have so much respect. My aunt is a nurse. My uncle's a doctor. I fully understand and respect the people in the medical field, period.
Oh, yeah.
When I got stabbed and I spent 35 days, I will never, the respect that I already had was like to infinity and beyond. You know what I'm saying?
Can I just say, I listened to the second episode, right? And I know you've said you were stabbed.
Yeah.
When your comedy and stuff like that. For me, as a emergency worker, people say things all the time like their child is super sick and they're really not sick. So when you said it, it didn't register as the level of stabbed it was until I heard your story. And there was key words that you said. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I didn't realize the magnitude, and I appreciate how raw you were.
I mean, my punchline of that joke is a skinny bitch wouldn't live through that, but I meant that.
No, like,
because I have a lot of layer of fat.
Like, no, you should not be alive, like you said. Like, you said that before.
He still got to my lungs. He still got to my, internal organs.
I don't, because people will come in stabbed at work, and it's like stabbed with a pencil. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't hear, but then when you said, one, with your mom and not being able to find you, you were a doe because they wanted to get you right away. That's a huge thing. Like those things. And I was like, oh, she probably went to Harvard. And I was at Harborview. I was like, oh shit, no, this is that's a whole nother level. So I really appreciate your rawness, and it totally opened my eyes a different way and a different respect. Not that I didn't respect you, but you moved up, but in my book, just
because I lived.
No. I mean, not only did you live, but you're like bringing attention to it, and you're not the way that you're doing it in such a short amount of time too.
Yeah, honestly, I mentioned during You Good, September 29th is my comedy anniversary. October 2nd, which is 3 days later, is my birthday.
Yeah, but
October 7th is my stabbing anniversary. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's really tough. I'm sorry for getting emotional, but I'm not going to get into details, but I'm a little frustrated about my birthday this year, and this is going to sound so like first world problem, but I was supposed to host the 907 that night. I was very excited because it's a Monday, and then I found out that's the Seahawks play that night, and the 907 doesn't do open mic when the Seahawks are playing Monday Night Football. So I'm like, fuck. So my birthday, for me, And this is no shade to Seahawks fans, as much as I fucking hate Seahawks
I was like,
fans.
come on, 49er fan. Like, come on now.
But like, the Seahawks are like ruining my birthday.
Sorry.
Because like,
He finally said something.
the Seahawks are like ruining my birthday, right? And it's my
Right.
45th birthday. And I don't know, 5 numbers are big to me. I don't know why, but so the Seahawks are like ruining my birthday, unfortunately. But if you do want to come on October 9th, I'll be hosting the 907 as a makeup for my birthday. But I really was gonna have I'm sad. On the 29th of September, last year I was having surgery. I was having a hernia removed, and so I didn't get to do comedy on my 1-year anniversary. This year I'm going with Casey McLean, and I'm being part of a charity show for his friend that has cancer. Mm-hmm. So actually I'm really excited about being able to help with that. But then Monday, is my birthday, but like no one's going to care about my birthday because there's a Seahawks game on, right? Yeah. Even though, whatever. And then there's another situation happening midweek where like somebody's celebrating their birthday, but it's long after their birthday. And I'm like, this is my birthday week. That I'm a little frustrated about that. And I realized in having that conversation with that person, actually, we talked about it and my frustration, not with them, but just the situation. Yeah. And I realized the reason that I struggle is because that weekend is my stabbing anniversary. Mm-hmm. So it's like, 5 years is not a long time.
It is not a long time. And for you to be able to process it the way you did and are so raw, it's fantastic. It's you really, and I honestly, I would be really pissed if in your situation, because your birthdays mean so much more.
Yeah. Right.
So much more.
Yeah.
And I think, I just kind of put all this together why it was fucking with me so bad. But it's like, I know this sounds weird maybe to some people, but like, it's not just my stabbing anniversary. It's the day that I probably should have died.
Yeah.
So it's like my birthday and the day I should have died are very close together.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of sad because I celebrate people all the time.
Yeah.
And it's not the way it's going to be. So, I don't know. I just feel some kind of way about it. But at the end of the day, I try and move in space with gratitude and with joy as much as I can. But 5 years is not a long time.
No, but you are...
And 5 years is not a long time because... and I think we talked about this probably on that episode, but like... It's not, every year I have to think about it. It's every day I think about it.
Yeah. All right.
Every day. Because my face is always going to be numb. These wounds will always be here. Every time I take a shower, I have to look at it.
Right.
So it's not...
I don't know if you went over... Are you in the same place that you were? No. So you're not in...
No, I think I talked about it in the episode, but like while I was in the hospital, my friends moved me from one apartment to another in the same complex. And then 9 months later, we moved to a totally different place.
Gotcha.
And a place that I very much love. And we live in a townhouse, but I really love our place. So no, we're not in the same place. We're not far. No. We're not far, right? And we're definitely in the same neighborhood. I don't... It's funny because people can feel whatever they want about me as a human.
Right.
And I just think people sometimes don't understand me. And they don't understand the living with something like this is not... I wouldn't wish this on anyone, honestly. So it's like I do my best to be happy or joyful or whatever, but like when people are unhappy with me, it's like we never know what each other's going through. And that goes for everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone. I just know that some of us have gone through more.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to center myself in that way, but the reality is some of us have gone through more.
Well, both of you. You.
Yeah, well, and that's I wasn't trying to push it onto me, but like the anniversary is the day after my my son's anniversary. October 6th is the day that he passed, and I should have died in the car accident. You know,
yeah.
Like the same token. You know, I don't want to.
No,
Back and forth, but like that's what it is kind of
but what you guys are presenting, especially now in the climate we have and everything like that, and the way mental health and it is terrible for people for access and stuff. What you guys are doing and putting it out there is, I'm sure, healing for you, but at the same time, it's fantastic that you're showing it to other people.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it sounds
that
terrible.
was our intent.
And it's very obvious.
And that's why we structured our podcast with You Good and things like that, because we had certain things that we wanted to bring to a podcast, and I think that we're doing a really good job at it. You know, and it's like, it's really hard in comedy because they say, you know, what are the 3 things that you need to do is like be likable and, you know, be funny and like be easygoing, be a good hang, whatever. And it's like, I'm not always those things.
No.
Because I have a lot more going on than a fucking 22-year-old that lives at home with his mom. You know what I'm saying? And like does dick jokes all day. Like I can't be that person all the time. And this is a humanity thing. This is not a comedy thing, but like someone could have, and I think I'm a triple Libra. This is why it bothers me so much. Someone could have, I balance everything on a scale. I can be like, there's 7 things I don't like about you, but there's 70 things that I love about you. So I love you. You know what I'm saying? Like I can deal with the shit. But like in general, we pick each other apart for the bad things. And it's like sometimes we ignore the good things. I mean, within comedy, outside of comedy, people will find the reasons to pick me apart. And I'm like, fuck you. Because I go out of my way to do things for people, and people don't understand. Like we're not going to talk about it in this episode because in our next episode, we will talk about it more. But like I said at the beginning, my back was out last week. My back goes out 2 to 3 times a year because I have degenerative disc disease in my back. And it could be like I twisted a certain way, or it could be nothing. You know, well, and listen to the next episode and you'll understand what happened to my back. But it was embarrassing to me because we were out of town. I was with Robert. We were out of town. And normally people don't see me in that space. But it was miserable. And we were on a trip for him. I felt horrible. Like, but it's like, there's so much that people don't see. And so when we pick each other apart for like the little things, or if we just don't take into consideration, you know, there's been some situations even within the comedy world, even just this week, that have nothing to do with me. But it's just been some unfortunate situations that happen with other comics. And one comic, you know, being upset at another comic and attacking them and whatever, in my opinion.
I think I know exactly
but not
what
understanding that comic has a lot going on, I think. A lot more than most of us know.
Yeah.
And I don't know that much about that particular person. And I'm intentionally being vague because it's not really my business. But I think that the comic that is getting complained about has a lot of stuff going on.
Right.
You know, and it's like, how, I don't know. Sometimes I just wonder, like, if us picking each other apart cause that person to harm themselves, like, you don't know when you're going to push someone over the edge.
No.
And
I see it on a daily basis. It's terrible.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing is I am able to see that dark side. And so it's real. It's kind of like what I said with you, like when you said stab, people don't realize the magnitude of that until you actually see these people going through it.
I had wounds that were not healed for 3 months.
Yeah.
Like I went home with open wounds.
Right. You don't understand the magnitude, or even just like what you actually endure. Like, I mean, you full on had an episode of ER.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
And it was probably a two-part episode. You know, and it's both of you, like this, people don't realize, and everybody processes things completely in their own ways, and I've seen that.
I think some of it's ignorance, you know, like people don't understand like complex PTSD You know, and we did talk talk about that.
Look at how often PTSD gets thrown around nowadays. Like, I have PTSD over X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Like, no.
And I don't think that's just funny. Just like I don't think every comic saying they're autistic is funny. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of shit is not funny.
No.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because being autistic, it can be a beautiful thing. You know, but it's like it there's also a downside to being autistic. My daughter. There's things that she's ignorant to in life and she will always be ignorant to.
Right.
And I'm like, man, I wish I could live in that ignorance sometimes. But every day I look at my daughter and think, what if her mom didn't do drugs? Who could my daughter be at 28 right now if my daughter was neurotypical, right? So it's like there's I don't want to say goods and bads, but there's strengths and struggles in every situation. I just wish that we were more kind and more thoughtful. And more thoughtful in the way that, like, you shouldn't have to know my story to give me some grace.
No,
but especially if you know my fucking story, give me some grace.
Right.
And 5 years is not a long time. And I still see a therapist twice a month. And I still, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, like, just talking about this triggered the fuck out of me, right?
Right.
And that's okay. I don't mind talking about it. But I had to piece together. I'm so frustrated about my birthday. My comedy anniversary, I wanted to do a show at a club and I didn't get to do that. And that's fine. I'm not booked on any show. I'm helping Casey, right? But my comedy anniversary, my birthday's fucked up because of the Seahawks game. And, you know, somebody else's birthday is somehow becoming really important that week, even though their birthday was 2 weeks prior. And then my anniversary of my stabbing.
Yeah.
All of that is a lot. And it's very selfish and I'm admitting it. But man, if you don't think that that's going to affect me, it will. It just will. You know what I'm saying? Like we're going, you know, we are doing my birthday. This is coming out after my birthday, but you know, we are doing like, you know, a thing at Hannah's.
I'm hosting.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like, who knows who's going to show up to that? You know what I'm saying? Like, who knows going to come to that? Whatever.
And also the game will be on.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there might not be anybody there. Yeah. I'm not. Like, I can't be mad at the Seahawks for having a game on my birthday. It just is what it is.
Right.
But it's a series of things in a week period of time. 3 big things happen. And, like, nothing will really get acknowledged.
I wouldn't call them
you know what I'm
big.
saying?
It's more monumental. Like, that,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not
important.
They're extremely important.
Things,
like,
know?
Everybody has milestones in their life that they look back at, and you're, like, getting power punched.
Yeah.
In a short amount of time.
I mean, my birthday and my comedy anniversary are good things, right?
No, 100%.
And I would say the stabbing anniversary, I don't know if I'd be here doing this if it wasn't for that, right? So it's like, I definitely try and look at the silver lining, but it's I don't know. I guess I am in a little bit of a selfish place about that, and it just is what it is. And I sometimes wish people looked at us as a sum of our parts and not just the pieces, you know?
Well, and I feel like your story is also probably saving about at least 100 different people if they listen to your story and they look at their life themselves to get out of situations or how to deal with situations like that. What you endured is going to make such a ripple effect in a positive way for so many people.
Yeah, I think I'm going to write a book.
Like,
you know
honestly,
what I'm saying?
I
think I'm going to write a book because I want to do speaking engagements and things like that. And people call me all the time. People message me and they're like, my friend's in a DV situation. Could you tell them your story? Right. Because they could see where it's going. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it doesn't have to be a DV situation. Mine wasn't really a DV situation.
No, it wasn't. And that's also like the different, like, because when you were talking about it, I was envisioning so many of the patients that come through or that are behaving as he did. Like, and I just, it's, and the thing is when they come out of it, it's so crazy. Like it's Jekyll, what is that?
Dr. Jekyll and Mr.
Thank
Hyde.
you, nailed it.
No, it's true. I mean,
it's crazy.
The other thing is, and I think I mentioned this on the pod, is October 7th, my anniversary, is also his birthday. So he will have to live at that for the rest of his life. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I just was out to dinner with my stepson's family. My stepson wasn't there, but his aunt and his cousins, like it was one of their birthdays. And we were out and we were talking about that. Like, you know, it affects so many people, but it will never affect anybody more than it affects me and him.
Right.
You know, and that his birthday will forever be tainted. It doesn't matter. He gets out in 2028 or something, but until he dies, every single birthday he will have to remember what he did. You know, in 2018.
Right.
And you know, and that's mental illness and drugs and all of those things.
Right.
But yet I came out of that with an extreme amount of grace. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do not hate that man, and I don't know that I ever will. And
because it wasn't that man that.
But I just wish that sometimes we're kinder to each other, because sometimes we get so intolerant with each other and we pick each other apart. And I'm just like, man, I'm never going to be the person that everyone loves. I get it. That's cool. But you know what? I'm a fucking dope ass person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I will just continue to be me, and people will continue to respond however they respond.
Yeah.
You know? So, but that's also one of the reasons why I want to highlight people on our, you know, when we started this, we were intentional about our reasoning to talk about mental health, to have these opportunities, but also to highlight people, you know, in our communities and people that we know or people we don't know very well, to expose them to the world, because we all have a story.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Thank you for being here and telling yours, because I think that what you and your husband have done is pretty phenomenal, you know, and your story's nowhere near being over. You know, you're 40. So it's like you have so much more time to do amazing things, you know? So
I sure hope so, because I'm really enjoying life.
Yeah. And I think you guys seem like a really amazing people. And even like Tim is a very, very kind person. You could just tell by being around him.
I mean, he comes and supports, comes and listens to me all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
he can probably do all of our jokes at this point.
Yeah, he can. And so, he also, I really appreciate that everybody has accepted him, and the ones that have, like, it's so crazy how comedy is like instantly like this family.
Yeah. It can be.
Can be.
I mean, it could be more family than we like it to be.
I should call like a disgruntled family.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very much.
Well, I mean, sometimes family treats each other worse than they, you know, treat strangers.
That's what I'm saying. It's got its bonuses and it's not so great, but
it is. And you just find your tribe. You know what I'm saying? You find your people, whatever. But yeah, so I'm super glad you're here. So we're digressing.
I know.
Let's do dope or trash.
Okay, dope or trash.
You had some, right?
Yeah, I have some.
What's your start?
I mean, since we're kicking off, I started with the Crocs. I was a little, what's
still trash? Go ahead.
the Hey Dudes.
Ooh.
Explain that.
Hey Dudes, the shoes.
Do you know what Hey Dudes are?
No, I don't even know what
they're kind of like a country version of Crocs. They're like slip-on. They remind me like house shoes.
They're
fancy house shoes.
I'm going to Google them.
Mostly like country people wear them.
Yeah.
And they're like they wear Hey Dudes and boots. And that's your...
Or grandpa. Grandpa's like... Yeah. It's really weird that now... Yeah, you see kids wearing them, and I'll see grandpas wearing them. Yeah. And they're light.
They're supposed to be really comfortable. So I haven't tried them on. I'm afraid to.
They lift and separate your feet beautifully.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah. Wait, these?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, those are cute. They're like boat shoes.
Yeah. I think they're great. And I love them. And they're very cute. Yeah. But I've been told that they're hideous and ugly. But I'm all about Hey Dudes.
No,
I would rock a pair.
I would say dope.
Dope.
Okay. Yeah, I would wear those. I think I'd wear them. I'd wear them like in a more formal capacity though. But I'm a sneakerhead who wears flip flops every day, pretty much. So I think I'd wear them like to a job interview or something. You know what I'm saying? Like a black pair or something. Like they're cute. I think they're cute.
And speaking of sneakerheads, I wore these Jordans today, but I don't know how to wear them.
What do you mean?
And I figured you guys, because I know you said you're into the hip hop and stuff, which I cannot jam with.
You need to clean your Jordans. I'll tell you that.
Okay, so first off, I need to clean them. Second off, what do I do with this?
I don't know.
You can either rock them like that, or you can strap them all the way up.
Okay, but what looks better? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, I've never owned a pair that was like that. So I would probably strap them.
Okay.
But it's also whatever you're comfortable with. So
yeah.
All right.
But yeah, I think those shoes. Maybe we should show a picture of what Hey Dudes look like when we do this episode.
Show Hey Dudes.
So I think they're dope. I think they're cute.
Okay.
You think they're?
Do you know what Hey Dudes are, NuqNuk?
Yeah.
Yes.
And what do you think?
What do you think? I mean,
I only wear sneakers, so it's not really for me, but I like them.
What do you think?
What do you think?
I mean, I only wear sneakers, so it's not really for me, but I like them.
What do you think?
I mean, I only wear sneakers, so it's not really for me, but
But you won't judge people if you see them?
Nah, they're cool.
I feel like they look like boat shoes.
They are, but you would be amazed at how many people are so judgy about them.
That's weird.
But I live kind of in the country. That's
where you get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they look like slippers. I think they look comfy. Okay. Rob, you have one?
Cheesecake.
Go ahead.
No, trash.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I know.
wow. I didn't expect the controversy.
I just took Lynette Manning out for her birthday to the Cheesecake Factory. Cheesecake is phenomenal.
No.
Oh, no, wait. That's a whole nother. Vanilla bean cheesecake. I'm all over that shit.
See, that's what I was saying.
From the Cheesecake Factory.
First of all, I say dope. Okay, but I wasn't really exposed super to cheesecake growing up until I went to New York. And New York is like about cheesecake. You go to Junior's Cheesecake. You don't get the regular cheesecake. You get a special cheesecake.
Yeah.
And velvet cheesecake is like the bomb.
Like red velvet?
Yeah, red velvet cheesecake. So that's like my second caveat. Cheesecake, and then what's your favorite?
Oh, yeah. See, I guess vanilla bean, technically, I will say from Cheesecake Factory is my...
Okay.
If I had to endure it.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So...
But I just...
We should stop taping right now. Did you just say you're going to Cheesecake Factory and getting the most boring cheesecake ever? The fuck?
After you look through the book
of salt, like seasoning?
Menu.
Like 700 cheesecake flavors and you got basic bitch.
I can't do that tang. It's like the tang. The tang throws me off.
Oh, fuck that. That's crazy.
I'm sorry.
Cheesecake is amazing.
No, I'm not sorry. I'm embracing my taste buds.
And I got a very cherry chocolate one. Fire.
Okay.
It was fire. It's still in my fridge right now, actually. I'm going to have some when I get the fuck home. And I'm going to send a picture of me eating it to Bree Real.
While you're eating it.
I'm going to send a picture of me eating it to Bree Real. Like, bitch, you're wrong. There you go. All right. Yeah, cheesecake's amazing. In my opinion, absolutely dope. What I don't like, and they have this at Cheesecake Factory, don't put cake in a cheesecake. Oh. When they have like layers and part of his cake, no, fuck that.
No.
Cheesecake.
Yeah. No.
Extra crust. They have one that's crustless. I was like, trash.
No, you have to have. If anything, if there was crustless, I'm out.
I want crust. I want crust on the top too.
Like, yeah, no.
I love a good graham cracker crust, right? But yeah, no, dope. NuqNuk.
Oh, I love cheesecake.
Okay.
Sometimes I go to Jack in the Box just because they got that little cheesecake.
Thanks for being on the right side of history, bro.
He goes to Jack in the Box for cheesecake, though, he said.
I mean, that's cool. I mean, honestly, Jack in the Box cheesecake isn't bad. Somebody that we were talking to, was it on the pod? That said their first experience with cheesecake was at Jack in the Box. Maybe I don't know where it was. But
I will say though, if a cheesecake is in front of me, I'm gonna eat that bitch.
Okay. Right.
Like I will fucking eat anything sweet. But
see, I don't eat a lot of sweets.
If I had to
like
choose,
cheesecake.
It would not be the one I got.
I also will only eat like 3 bites of a cheesecake. Like that, a piece from. I got 2 pieces the other night, brought them home, and they'll probably last me like a week.
That's
because I only eat like 2 or 3 at a time. No, I just don't. I don't like sweets that much. So
no, I'm a sweet hoe.
Plus, I'm a cheap bitch, and I'm like, man, $11 a piece. Jesus, I'm gonna make this shit last.
I don't look at the price. I just look at it going into my mouth.
Total side note: Cheesecake Factory, I love you, but fuck.
Right?
Like dinner for 2 people.
I have to know
was $160.
Well, also that I have to know ahead of time we're gonna go to Cheesecake Factory so I can study the fucking
menu?
Encyclopedia.
Yeah, there's a lot of food.
Like, oh shit!
Yeah, there's a lot. Shout out to I had truffle honey chicken. It was really good.
Oh, okay.
It was like not spicy or anything because I'm struggling with spice right now. But yeah, it was good. Okay.
What you got?
What you got?
I've been saving this for a while.
I don't feel so special.
But, no, but this is the right episode because I think that you'll have an opinion on this.
Okay.
Foster care for money. And I'll explain. Ooh. There are people that get into foster care. You got more money as a foster parent because you have medically fragile kids. Like, that's just the way that it works. I actually found out I
didn't.
Well, you should have.
Well, I didn't know how to ask appropriately.
Oh, okay. So, disclaimer, like, if you have medically fragile kids.
Sucker, dumbass.
Yeah, and honestly, like, you should have gone back and tried to get that money retro because that's crazy. Mm-hmm. But there are people that get into foster parenting because they have a big house, they got empty rooms, but they only take receiving care, which is like the first couple of days the kids are in care, or they take emergencies only, but they also charge $200-300 a night.
Right.
And it's still doing something good, right? It's giving a kid a bed. They're not sleeping in a hotel, or they're not sleeping in a floor of a state-run office. But some of those people make six figures, just because they have a bed. And I was wondering what you thought about that.
There's multiple things that I really want to get in on, but I really am. My goal in life is to do foster care reform. I think that the money is going to the wrong places and the wrong things. I mean, I would pay $1 million for a kid to have a good bed in a good home if that means that that's what they get as opposed to a hotel room.
Right.
So there's that, because they shell out cash to the most stupidest shit for bio parents or whatever that I could go on for hours. But so, yes, I think if that's what at this point, that's people will only do things for money. Their heart's not in the right place.
Do you think it's dope?
Money. I think it's. Is there a schmope?
we have some mids. We got some mids on our show.
Yeah, definitely.
That's better. I like mid.
Mid. You don't like schmope? Okay, whatever. But yeah, no.
This one's a tough one. Yeah, I'm kind of mid too, because I see. Okay, yeah, like you said, nobody's
it's dirty as hell.
It's dirty, but nobody's gonna not do something for money sometimes.
Yeah,
and
we live in a.
But I know
society.
some couple. I know a family in Texas that's what they did, and they have a good life.
So dirty saying.
They have a good life, and I'm like, I don't know how much their income was off of the husband work that I don't think the mom did, but how much money was off the foster kids.
Yeah. I think it's trash.
Yeah. I
get why people do it. I think it's trash. But I think it's one of those things where we have to have a reform. You know what I'm saying? Just
100%.
I don't love homeless, houseless people. I don't love, the fact that people are addicted to drugs or whatever. But I also don't think we should be throwing them in jail. There's a solution that's missing, which is there's not enough treatment beds. There's not enough mental health providers, right? So foster care needs reform. I personally think part of reform would be creating more houses or, buy an apartment building or something and put those kids in there and have staff where those kids can be until they get into foster homes. That would be a lot cheaper than putting hundreds of thousands of dollars into people who are they can come after dinner, but they have to leave after breakfast.
Right.
And you're getting paid $300 a night. You're being paid $300 a night to give some kid a fucking bowl of Golden Grams and a fucking glass of orange juice.
It is next level disgusting.
And it's gross. And sometimes they come at 2 a.m. and they're like, they have to be gone by 8. It's horrible.
Wow, I didn't know it was that.
No, it's bad.
That extreme.
And I'm talking $300 a night. They call them exceptional rates. And I think it's trash.
Yeah.
But we don't have a solution for it.
Yeah.
So I think it's trash that people do that. But we don't have a solution. So I think part of that reform for me would be having more homes. Like Amara has some home in King County, at least. There are some homes that exist. And it's crazy because they're often in residential neighborhoods. And they are staffed by people. And they're usually run by nonprofits. Mm-hmm. And I like that model more. A kid should be with a family member. If they can't be with a family member, they should be in a good foster home. If they can't be in a good foster home, I think that's the next step is having these homes. And you could have short-term ones and long-term ones, right? Whatever. But they should never be sleeping in a hotel. They should never. I mean, I've done that. I've sat in hotels, stayed awake all night with teenagers. It's not. None of that is good. Wow. They should not be sleeping on the floor of the ICWA office in Delridge, because that's where the visitation center is in King County. None of that should be happening. But we don't have enough of that interim solution. I mean, I'm not trying to give you another job to do, but if you ever wanted to do that, that would be a good investment for your family. You know what I'm saying? Buy a couple homes and start a business that's what you guys do, and have staff that's there 24/7. Where those kids can go there, because the average amount of money, you're still going to make a good amount of profit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But for a kid to have to pick up and leave every single day is fucked up. Period. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And for people to be making the amount of money that they make is fucked up. But we don't have that solution. So
Yeah. Well, and I feel like once they actually put the kid first, the rest will follow suit.
agreed. And I think there's a lot of
there's so many.
It's a whole nother episode.
Oh,
but
100%.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, no, I think that, yeah.
I think just doing it for the money, it's a hustle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
According to my
saying?
neighbors, who also hate me, there's 3 people that hate me. My neighbors, my mother-in-law. They said I told everybody else I was in it for the money.
Oh, yeah. All the money.
All
they
the
make.
hospital stays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
See
Nook, what
my
do you
sweet
think?
1994 truck.
Foster
out
care
front,
for people who do foster care just to make money.
And boo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck you if that's what you're doing it for, you piece of shit.
Would you
Yeah.
tell me what you really feel?
He usually gets excited about things like
imagine
recyclable
how them
bags.
kids
It gets
feel,
crazy
man.
right there.
Imagine how them kids feel.
No, I know, right?
Knowing that they're just a paycheck.
they don't know.
That's so fucked up, man.
They know.
Do you think they know?
Teenagers know.
The teenagers know, right?
Oh, they know, and it's
sad.
stays with them.
And in Texas, I was involved in it was kind of people from church, and we did like a thing Christmas every year.
Yeah.
And it was sad. Like I seen a kid, 16, 17, 18. Because they're all foster kids, and then we did a Christmas thing. It was like,
And then they don't know what to do because they don't have any structure. There's no.
yeah.
Okay.
It's terrible.
Do you have another one?
I have another one.
All right.
Oh, shoot.
Okay. Mullets.
So I think the real question is, do we ever want Roger Lazola on our podcast?
Who else was that? Oh, this is when we were in Oakland. What's his name with the mullet?
Connor.
Yeah.
Shout out to Connor. Mullets. I don't know.
Didn't he win some money for his mullet though? Like
He was in a contest. I don't know what happened, but
yeah, we never.
not my thing.
Yeah.
I have a mohawk right now, so
It's
like, who
insane
am I
how
to
it's
talk
blowing
about
off.
here? Though,
Like it's blowing up the way because it was like so not a thing for the longest time.
Yeah.
And then
again, you're gonna hear. Well, we could talk about this in the next episode with me and Robert. But we met a guy this weekend in Oakland. A white dude. He's like, I've had a mullet since high school though. Like this has been his thing. So he's kind of pissed because he's like, we're like, well, you look like every dude in Seattle now. Sorry about that. I think they're just so Joe Dirt and I just not my thing. But whatever, to each his own. I mean, I think dope if it's your thing. Who doesn't love Roger, right? Like,
Yeah.
100%.
so like, dope if it's your thing. It feels so white trashy to me, and then all these other feelings. It's kind of like maybe unpopular opinion, but like seeing a truck with an American flag, that triggers me to be like racist,
right.
because now we're conditioned to all of those associations, right?
Right.
So the same feeling comes up with the mullet, and I don't like that because it's like they're really not related, but your brain is conditioned, for me at least, it's conditioned to be like, ew, they probably are homophobic. They're probably like, your brain spins off for me.
Right.
In like wild ways about what a person with a mullet feels about life. And I'm like, it's probably completely untrue. So I think the logical brain says dope if you love it, whatever. That's my thought.
That's fair.
I say mid. Because, like, I could see, I think I'm jealous. I never had good hair to have a mullet. So it would be cool, but also, like, yeah, I also think it's trash. I don't know. I go back and forth. Okay, I'm just going to leave it like it's mid to me. So.
What do you think?
I think it's trash.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, because I don't.
My Roger voice.
Love you, Roger, but I am military. I'm all about the clean cut
Oh, got it.
business look.
But if one of your boys wanted to grow one,
My son has a mullet currently.
Oh, so this is very personal.
Yeah, this is very personal.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. So you guys are supposed to all say trash, and that so then I can be like, see, they said it's trash.
Okay,
I think
go back.
it is.
I think it's trash, but I'm also like,
Yeah.
like you said, like each his
Like
own.
to each his own, but
Yeah.
like ew, for
Yeah.
the most part.
Yeah.
There's
There's also a level. There's those ones that like there's the modern mullet that's kind of like cleaned up a little bit
Yeah.
that I can allow. But then there's those real Joe Dirt
The judge. I can't.
American flag on the side, shaved.
Yeah.
What do you think? No.
Trash. You look dirty, homie.
Yeah, that's right. It looks dirty.
But see, Roger doesn't. And that's the thing. Roger doesn't look dirty. Like,
No, he
Roger,
doesn't.
It's part of his personality. You know
But,
what I'm saying?
now, like in the high schools, homecoming's coming up. And these girls, they get dressed up and they're gorgeous. And then they have these dates
With the guy with the
fucking
mullet.
mullet. And I'm like,
I don't know.
Yeah.
just,
That's just us being old, though. And
I
us,
know, I hate being old.
Right.
I was going to be like, I'm going to be the cool parent. And
I'm sure you are on some level still, but yes. Do you have another one?
I do not. I can't think of anything right now. So
Okay,
sorry.
I'll do one and then we'll wrap it up. Do you have tattoos? You don't have any, do you?
I
Oh, you
have,
do?
well, that's the thing. My dad, so strict.
Okay.
Would never let me get a tattoo. So a rebellion for him was I have one tattoo
I'm
on my
sorry if
ankle.
you guys are watching this and are blinded
Yes.
By
By
the
that way. Yes.
ghosts.
I am
by the
see-through.
ghostly.
Yeah. And this is tan too, people. And these
Jesus
fancy
Christ.
socks. I'm bringing
Okay, so
sexy
you have
back.
one tattoo that looked like it took 7 minutes to do. Like, it's a very simple
Yeah,
design.
I paid $50 for it at the Seattle Tattoo
Expo
because
Okay.
my son said I was a pussy and went, well, he didn't tell me I was a pussy because that'd be disturbing, but said I wouldn't do it. And I was like, watch me. And I was like, I want that one, $50. I'm such a rebel.
Nice.
Portrait tattoos.
You got it.
Your
That's a
dead
lot of
dog,
trust.
your grandma, like...
If you have the right artist, dope. But you're putting a lot of trust in that shit.
What do you think? Wait, so is it dope or trash?
No, I never said trash. I mean, like, if you get a stick figure of your portrait or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
but if it turns out nice,
Right.
dope.
That's where I'm at too. Dope if it's done right thing. But
Yeah.
have you ever seen the one, I think it's iconic meme, like Lara Croft and Tomb Raider and like it does not, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
really?
yes.
Yeah, where they just does not look like, it looks like, yeah. If it's done good, I could see it, but otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, no. I think they're trash.
Really?
Well, I'm more about symbolism. So, like, I have
Yeah, I can
tattoos
see
for
that.
people
Yeah.
that, like my Disney tattoo has Grumpy and Mickey, and they're holding a daisy. And that's, my mom is obsessed with Mickey Mouse. My dad loved Grumpy, and, like, the daisy represents me.
Yeah.
Because fuck my brother.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, Tim. I love you. You'll never listen to this.
Your brother's name's Tim?
And,
That's funny.
And so symbolism I can understand. I also think like this whole tattoo is for my grandma. You know what I'm saying? Like, 'cause she loved
like-
lighthouses.
yeah, I
so
have
I'm
a-
really about symbols or like things that remind you of someone. I think portrait tattoos are kind of creepy and weird. And I also know as someone who's had cover-ups and tattoo removal, you don't know what you're going to get all the time. And a portrait is usually tends to be dark because there's a lot of space to fill.
Yeah,
and it's
a
hard to
true
cover
commitment.
over if it's bad. And so but also like, who are you getting a portrait of?
Yeah.
Your dog that died? And then every dog after it? Like your mom? And then your dad? And then your
See,
grandma's?
I've-
and then
I've-
your grandpa's? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I've lost my grandparents, but that was like the circle of life kind of thing were my grandparents.
Right.
And I love them, but I don't feel like I would want one. But I haven't experienced loss that is at the level that, you have. But
I haven't
Or
either.
you
My
know,
dad now.
but I feel like if it
from
was
21
like-
when my grandma died to my dad at 33, that whole time, like everybody else in my family's still alive. And
if
now
it
my
was
grandparents
that
from
level,
old age,
I think I would want, I would be like way more like,
Yeah, I mean, I got
that.
a tribute to my son, but it's not his
face.
But see, I think losing a child is the one exception for
Yeah.
me, maybe.
Okay.
yeah.
Losing your child.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And maybe losing your spouse. But I also think that's weird because what happens if you get with someone else? I think
Yeah,
maybe
no,
losing your
that-
child would be
yeah.
the one
Yeah.
thing. My thing is, I think it's much more, I think it's weird to have someone's face on you and
Well, people do like
have
famous people.
symbolism. the only time I've ever seen that is the good ones are like when it's all horror.
Yeah.
And it's like, Jack Nicholson in The Shining and then Freddy Krueger and Jason. Like that. Yeah. I've seen tattoos like that. Those are kind of cool. But like tattoos of your grandma, I don't get it. I've never understood it. And I think it's kind of weird and creepy. And especially when they place it in weird spots. I don't know. Not my thing. I think it's kind of trash. My recommendation is just do something that honors them.
Right.
That's I don't know, not as weird. I don't know. It's weird to me. But what do you think, Nuq?
I like them, but like they were saying, it's got to be by a really good artist, like somebody who's not going to mess it up, and it also can't be in a place that's going to be weird during sex.
Yes. Yeah. You're like grandma's looking right at you.
Oh my God!
Like it.
You'd be like, all right,
even like names. My best friend. My best friend. I think I think my best friend has it covered up now, but she got a tramp stamp with her baby daddy's name, and I was like, "Bitch, what are you doing? Like, somebody else is gonna have to hit that one day." You know what I'm saying? Like, ugh, gross. Don't do that shit. Don't be dumb.
I can 100% embrace that.
That's
trash
gross
too.
All right. I think we should wrap it up. This is longer than I expected.
Yeah, I talk a lot.
No, we all do. It's all good. So, thank you so much for being here.
No, it has been an honor to come. The funny thing is when I was writing my goals the other day, right before you came in when we were at TCC, and legitimately one of them was get on a podcast, and right below it, have a producer approach you for like a feature. No shit, 5 minutes later, that's when you called me over and were like, hey, how much time do you have to do Hannah's on the 27th? And I was like, that's just real. So
basically, I make Bree's dreams come true.
Yeah, way to go. So yeah, no, I think it's kind of crazy. So I really appreciate this opportunity, and I think you guys are going to take off.
I've always thought that you were very cool. From the moment I saw you, I was like, that's dope. And like, again, like, we need more lesbians in the industry.
I love Dick, okay?
So it's just...
Shout out to Dick.
I've always thought you were cool. I really love your husband. I love how, like, your energy is very obvious from the beginning. And but I don't know you that well. Like, and I don't always feel comfortable just like hitting you up because I know that your life is so busy, and so I'm just like I don't always feel like reaching out because I don't. Sometimes when you send people a message, I feel like you don't have to respond to it right away. Like I send you a message at 2 a.m. because that's when I'm thinking about something. Right. Respond when you want to. You know what I'm saying? But it's like I don't really talk to you that often, or I don't message you too much on social media because I'm like I know you have so much going on, and I don't want you to feel obligated to like some random person you barely know. But I'm a good people read. And like from the moment I met you, I was like, she's dope people. And the more I hear about your story and the more I see online, I'm just like, you and Tim both are phenomenal people. And shout out to your kids, you know what I'm saying? The older ones, and everything that they've had to endure being, the older siblings to now, you giving a lot of your energy to their very sick little brother, and everything that Carlos goes through. And it's like, they're giving up some of themselves to this boy, and they were on board with it. So it's like, you have a very special family. You know what I'm saying?
I completely agree with you.
And you're a very special human, and you can tell that.
I'm happy to have you on here because I knew very little of you, and this very opened up a lot.
Well, then, like I said before, I hadn't really listened, and I did. And for both of you, I have the utmost respect for both of you. I love your grind, and I have to say, you had more the set when I closed that night. Your sets have just. That's the other cool thing is watching everybody just climb and. Take off like you're doing phenomenal.
I actually got people to chant my name.
Actually,
I was like, what?
Actually, Ethan, my 18-year-old that was there, he leaned over to my husband and he's like, at the beginning, he's like, if there's one more finger in the butthole jokes. But then he said you were his favorite that night more than me.
That's
bullshit.
That's awesome. Awesome. That's great.
That's funny. So basically, I make your dreams come true, and Robert makes you hate your kids. So
That's awesome.
Nailed it.
Yes.
I mean, like I needed more emphasis on it, but
So again, this comes out October 4th. Whelp, we're gonna do another episode. Whelp, October 4th. My birthday will have just passed. My stabbing anniversary is coming up. This is a rough week for me, you guys. Yeah. That's what it comes down to. I can tell you that right now without even being there.
Send Allison all the good energy so she can get through it.
We are doing a show for Juan Forno on October 6th at Jukebox
Friday.
Theater.
On Friday, we're going to be
on
Jukebox Theater in Seattle on Friday the 6th.
I love that theater.
I've never been there.
I've never been either.
Yeah, we went and James...
Roberts?
Nope, Bell... I can't pronounce it. You said it before. James Blame.
James Blame Doohan?
Blame. Yes.
Yes, from Oregon?
Oregon, yes. He did a little sit down with me.
Oh, yeah.
And we went and I saw Monica and...
Yeah.
It's a sweet little
Yeah,
joint.
we haven't been there. So we're doing that show on Friday. So please come out.
Yes.
Because it's the day before my stabbing anniversary.
It's the
so
day
now I'm just guilting
of my
you.
son's
that's our day.
That I'm
some hard
working on
days
a
for
joke.
us.
Yes.
So come out and spend some money and tip us.
Yes.
And laugh with us.
Yeah.
I like it.
And do you have anything coming up?
I have not until November, but I will be doing the Veterans Day show
Dope.
at the Mill in Tacoma.
Dope.
And then I also will be
Featuring
at Hannah's on the 27th of November.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I'll be there for that. All right. It's been an honor having you and getting to know you better.
Awesome sitting here with you guys. I would love to come back too because I want to talk about mental health. I want to talk about foster care, whatever.
That's dope.
You guys need somebody, I'm here for you.
That's awesome. We appreciate that.
My schedule is crazy, but I'm actually going to be working less, so I can grind more. So,
well, yeah, thank you. And we've been really lucky to have some pretty great episodes, and some great guests. So, we're not even, this is only episode 14. So, we hope to keep the track record going. But shout out again to Lamont at NuqNuk, our amazing producer, Stay Hydrated Studios, and I don't know. Just stay up. It's gonna be. It's a rough week for us, so we hope you're having a good week.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Peace out.
Peace out.